Have you ever heard of the story called Acres of Diamonds? It's about a man named Ali who was a farmer in a small village in Persia who one day decided that he was no longer happy with his life. He became very discontented and he'd heard stories about people finding treasures in distant lands. And so Ali decided that he was going to sell his farm and go out in search of treasures. And after many months and traveling very far to search for treasures, Ali didn't find anything. One day he ran into another farmer who actually had done the same thing that Ali did. He sold his farm and left in search of treasures. And it was at that point where Ali started to consider if he possibly made a mistake. And he decided that he was going to go home back to his the farm that he sold. And when he got back to his hometown, to his surprise, he found out that the farm that he'd sold was actually sitting on acres and acres of diamonds. Now, how interesting is it that Ali will go out searching for something that he was sitting on all that time?
Yeah, I think that's really so important for us to look at. We grew up as children hearing about how we can't think that the grass is always greener on the other side. I remember even being in school, and sometimes someone gets a certain set of pencils or they get something else that you want. And little do you know that everybody really had their own treasures. But we thought, what somebody else has is better than what we have. And then sometimes we take that with us as we grow up. And here we are married, and we're wondering, is the grass greener on the other side?
Hmm. This story of this Ali in search of diamonds, it really reminds me of a principle that uh, Solomon tries to teach us, and that is in Proverbs 28, where it says that he who tills his own land will be satisfied with plenty of bread, but the one that goes out in search of frivolity, looking for or in pursuit of vain things, will oftentimes come up empty handed. And the point of that lesson, just like the moral of Ali's story in the Acre
Mhm.
of Diamonds, is that the way really to tap into the treasure of what you have is you gotta dig where you are. You have to till your own ground. You can make where you are beautiful. Your relationship can be amazing and awesome if you're willing to put in the work.
That's so good. And when we think about sometimes we wonder if another couple's marriage is better than ours, and
Hmm.
we see people out, and I would say social media has really done a lot to
Absolutely.
help us think and make comparisons, right? Because we see all these things that people post about their marriage or their family, places they're going, things they're doing, and it all seems like, well, you know what, it must be better somewhere else because we know what struggles and challenges we're facing in our own homes. But truth be told, all couples face their own set of challenges. So when we start to compare ourselves with these highlight reels that everyone posts on Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere else, then we start to think, they must really have it good over there. And we're, lo and behold, sitting on something that's full of value, but we are struggling to uncover that. And so we have to learn how to really dig that out.
I mean, if you think about it, uh, again, what Ali was searching for, he really didn't take the time to invest in and to mine what he had, his own property, to figure out what was there. And, really, that's God's design. The way that God designed the planet that we live on is things that are valuable, things that are worth a lot and have a lot of use or rare and unique. You don't find them on the surface. Those are things like gold and oil and diamonds. You have to really search them out.
Mm.
So that same principle applies to relationship. When you get to know, or you're just meeting your wife or your husband, and you guys are just getting to know each other, a lot of that is just surface level. To get to where the real value and the treasure is of your relationship, you got to be willing to dig beneath the surface. You got to be willing to mine um, to help you discover what God has placed within your spouse and within yourself. And again, the treasure of why you guys are together.
One thing I think is really interesting for us to consider there also is that even over time, right, over a period of years, things can even get better. We can
Hmm.
not only uncover that beauty that was hidden, but in addition to that, sometimes things become even more and more valuable as they get older. That happens with rare coins, with even leather. It may look dusty, right? Because it hasn't been dusted off for a little while and it doesn't look as beautiful. But truth be told, there's a lot of beauty in things that are old and antique. So don't think that just because your relationship is going on for years and years that you're going to start to lose the value in it. In fact, you can start to grow the value in it and appreciate the value in it
Hmm.
over time because you have allowed that to build up.
One of the shows that I enjoy watching HGTV, and when you watch investors that they find these rundown homes in the areas that are pretty nice areas, and they invest time and energy and ideas into those properties, and then all of a sudden they're so much more beautiful and they're worth so much more because they
Mm,
took the time to invest in it. There was good structure there, or good bones there, and a lot of times that was all they needed, just with a little bit of vision. And so that's one of the things that we wanted to convey to you, that regardless of whatever state your relationship is, maybe you're in a place where maybe you're kind of feeling like Ali, maybe it looks like the grass is greener on the other side, maybe you feel like, man, we're doing pretty good. Guess what? God has designed us so that there's more. So I want to
mm.
encourage you to dig deeper, to mine your own land in relationship, and uncover your own acre of diamonds.